Dana White confirms Sean Strickland will get the next title shot and not the winner of Khamzat Whittaker. In an interview with Jim Rome, Dana said, "Listen, Sean Strickland right now is the #1 ranked middleweight in the world, and the answer is yes, he will be next to fight for the title." We also have Whittaker versus Chimaev, so we're gonna have some fun fights. Sean Strickland lost his title to DDP in a razor-close fight at UFC 297 in Canada this past January. After the loss, Strickland didn't hold back, insisting he was robbed by the Canadian judges and immediately called for a rematch. Despite that, the UFC decided to strike while they could by making du Plessis versus Adesanya, not wanting to miss out on that fight for a second time. That left Sean needing to fight in the meantime, in which he narrowly beat Paulo Costa. Following his win over Costa, Strickland stated that he would not fight again and would sit on the sidelines and wait to be given the next title shot, whether against du Plessis or Adesanya. That didn't sit well with the majority of the MMA world, who believe Robert Whittaker to be in a more deserved position. Not only that, but the Reaper has booked to fight the middleweight boogeyman Khamzat Chimaev, and with a win will undoubtedly deserve a title shot. As we all know, tensions between Muhammad Mokaev and Manel Kape boiled over into a chaotic brawl at the fighters' hotel. The altercation, involving about 10 people, escalated quickly with both fighters' teams clashing, and today, shocking details have been revealed about the incident. First, let's mention that the brawl involved not only the teams of Mokaev and Kape, but also the former UFC featherweight champion Alex Volkanovski. In a video posted on YouTube, Volk said that he had to physically intervene during the brawl. He explains he had no choice but to put his body on the line, hitting the floor in his effort to contain the violence. Quote, "Guys were stepping and getting around all the security guards. I was trying to help, but he stepped around me as well. I'm like, this guy has got some good movement. He's going again. I'm trying to tell him to chill out. Again, he's come on. I've tried to grab him. We almost ran into the bottom of the stairs, so we sort of went down. I fell to my knees. As I'm trying to hold him, he slipped out. I was like, this guy is very slippery." Volk ended the sentence saying, "I don't know if I should even bring it up. Stuff happened," hinting that there was more to the incident than just throwing hands. While Volk remained quiet about the incident, Mokaev did not. A couple of hours ago, Mokaev held an interview in Russian with Adam Zubairayev, where he broke the scary news. He went into details of what happened after the brawl. Quote, "We drove away. Amir Albazi was standing around the corner. Albazi is #2 ranked in my division. He acted unusual. He ran out of the car and got into a fighting stance. At that time, he had a neck operation. I thought that if I beat him now, he will go to the police. There were people trying to separate us, including some fighters. I got into a fighting stance and he pointed a gun in our direction." Albazi stood next to Javid Basharat, who fights in the UFC. "We tried to flinch him. Albazi didn't do anything. He was still shouting at us, saying it's better if we leave. We all were very scared." What about those news? Volk and Mokaev got themselves in a very tense situation, but fortunately everyone was unharmed. Dana White blames Mokaev for everything that has happened to him. It is what it is. White told MMA Junkie, "I always say this, that this is an opportunity to be here and to perform in front of the entire world. And he's just a guy that did everything wrong and pissed these guys off. I wasn't involved in any of the stuff that happened with him, but you know, the matchmakers and Hunter were, and they weren't happy with him. They weren't happy with the way he acted. They weren't happy with a lot of things he did and said. I guess you can look back now and regret it, but you did it, and you put yourself in this position." The UFC's decision to not re-sign undefeated flyweight contender Mokaev after his win over Manel Kape has shocked many, especially since Mokaev was on the verge of a title shot. Dana has kept the reasons for this surprising move vague, describing them as behind-the-scenes issues rather than anything related to Mokaev's fighting skills. The build-up to the fight with Kape was intense, with both fighters clashing at various events throughout the fight week, including at the UFC Performance Institute, the host hotel, ceremonial weigh-ins, and even needing to be separated during their in-cage introductions. Israel Adesanya's coach discusses the trick of finding the balance versus Dricus du Plessis at UFC 305. The trick is really, we know Israel can go forward, and we know Israel can fight off the back foot, and he can do really well off the front foot, Behrman told Submission Radio. But the trick is finding the balance of what we need. If we get too much on the front foot, that's going to obviously make us vulnerable for certain things. And if we get too much on the back foot, there's going to be vulnerabilities there. So it's finding the exact balance of what you need between those two to win the fight. And that's going to be part of the challenge of the fight of the night, because that's going to be an adjustment that has to be done on the fly by all teams. How aggressive you have to be and how much you have to be on the back foot and start to look to counter. How much you have to look to be the kind of boxer-puncher, boxer-counter fighter at the same time. Like, these are the little things that get tweaked on the night. So that's the fascinating part that everybody can look forward to, right? Sean Strickland's aggressive style caused problems for Adesanya in their title fight at UFC 293, and du Plessis is confident he can use a similar approach to his advantage. Behrman recognizes that Adesanya needs to be cautious and time his attacks carefully to counter this kind of pressure. Who do you think wins between Izzy and DDP? Leave your comments below. Robert Whittaker discusses his potential retirement timeline. Rob is on the cusp of getting back to a UFC title shot. I'm thinking about wrapping it up around 36. That's what? 2.5 years, Whittaker told Demetrius Johnson. I feel like 36 is a good age to really have a solid crack at something else. Whatever it is I want to do, you know? I do the normal things, he continued. I save more than I spend. I look to buy land and investment properties whenever I can afford it. I'm looking to push my dreams ahead. I'm not really moving into anything I need to dedicate too much focus towards, because I do believe that everything you do that isn't fighting takes away a little bit of that mental mind space you have, and you don't have a lot of it. Whittaker admitted he wasn't fully focused before his fight with Dricus. As a result, he lost the fight, with DDP winning by a TKO in the second round. Next up will be the rebooked Khamzat Chimaev matchup for Whittaker at UFC 308 on October 26th. I want to fight by the end of the year, Whittaker said of why he accepted the rebooking. If they give me a title fight next, I would be happy. If the fight with Dricus and Adesanya were to happen, then they say, hey, wait until next year and you can fight for the title. I'd wait. What's an extra couple months, right? It's a title fight. I'm gonna fight one way or another, and winning pushes me towards my goals anyway. Even though Whittaker held the UFC middleweight title for over 3 years, his reign felt brief. The Reaper was promoted to undisputed champion after defeating Yoel Romero by unanimous decision in 2017. However, his first defense, a rematch against Romero a year later, didn't quite count. Romero missed weight, and Whittaker won a split decision. Despite his time as champion, Whittaker never had the chance to fully solidify his legacy with a successful title defense. Whittaker has left his mark on the sport for not only his country of New Zealand, but the 185-pound division. As fight fans, we have to enjoy his time in action while he still competes, because there might not be much time left.